What's up, guys? Sean King, Mr. Fence Academy, Mr. Fence Tools, back in the Fence Lab with another tool. Now, this is a tool that started us in our pool business, the Straightaway, but we're making continuous improvements to it. This Straightaway 1.0 and 2.0 both have the new no dig spacing jig in it, just like the SpaceX. So what we've done here is we've taken the existing gate spacer that we had before, where you could put against the post set in concrete, and then you could use the notch in the rail on the ground. By doing that, it leaves us with a 3-foot opening, and this will leave us with a 48-inch opening. I'm sorry, and so on and so forth. Once you're in the starter notch and the gate notch, that was on the previous design. But since we've been moving to no dig with a lot of steel posts, there's really no way to get these posts here spaced properly the way it was before. So now we have a round notch that you would put for the first post you drove in the ground. And if you're using donuts on your post, a 1/4-inch wall post and a king nut, you put them in those two notches right there. That's going to leave you with the proper opening you need for a 3-foot gate, a 4-foot gate, and a 5-foot gate, and a 6-foot gate. Okay, spacing. So it's king plus wood fence and vinyl fence spacing for you. Then, if you want to do full sections, you got a long run, and there's no need to use an equalizer because you're going to do 8-foot on centers, no dig. What you can do is drive your first post, set the jig against the first post right there on that notch. So you would just lay it on the ground till it bumps into that post. And then you would just drive this one right here into this notch. And that's going to leave you exactly on 8-foot on centers so that you can maximize the length of your sections, no cutting, nothing. Just continue going full sections using that system. Now, it still has the board-on-board spacing that we've had before. That's the notches at the top. That's going to be the bigger notch. So this one's for board-on-board spacing. You'd make that the right side of every picket every time. On a 5.5-inch picket, leaves you a 3.5-inch space. The short notch is your 2-inch space or semi-privacy spacing for wood fence using a 5.5-inch picket. So if you use a 5.5-inch picket, you make the right side to the left side, hit that small notch every single time. When you put your pickets up there, you end up with a 2-inch gap. If you're using a 6-inch wide picket, then your spacing on board will be 3 inches between the pickets, and on semi-privacy, it'll be 1.5 inches between them. So Straightaway also still has the shadow box spacer built into it. That's a color-coded spacer. It doesn't get you perfect, it just gets you close. Basically, here's what the colors mean and the spacing between the pickets. So 3 1/4 up to 4 inch, utilizing these colors. You would just set your first picket on one of the colors and then run that color consistently all the way through. Generally, when you start that, you figure out which picket is closest to the color at the end. Let's say the picket right side is closest to red. I'd move this one to red, and I would run all the reds. The buddy picket, for those of you guys who haven't used this yet, these things have a magnet in them. We make them for different styles of fence with different offsets, or reveals we call them. This is made for King Plus. This will fit in and lock in place, so as you go up and down grades and work with this, your cheater picket, we used to call it, the buddy picket, doesn't fall off, and the Straightaway doesn't slide on a steep grade, doesn't move on this. So there's a new improved version of the 1.0 and the 2.0. They're both the same with the cutouts. The difference is 1.0 has less tolerance between where the picket goes. The 2.0 allows you to do board on board. Okay, a lot of guys have been buying the 2.0, but we're seeing that with the 2.0 is definitely more slop and how it moves up top. That's what the nut and bolt is for here. It gives you positive pushback to keep that thing from tilting up there. But if you don't do much board on board, you really need the 1.0. So when that picket locks in here, this doesn't move at all. So the fastest way to run pickets with one of these jigs is with the 1.0 over the 2.0, but you cannot do board on board with the 1.0. That's why a lot of guys buy the 2.0. But if you don't do much board on board, it makes no sense. You might as well get the 1.0. So there you go, MrFenceTools.com, where you can find these upgraded versions.